No, it's the one on the left. Oh no, you got it. Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 144th episode of the Drunk Doctor Who podcast.
No, I didn't change that. 145th.
Oops. Technical difficulties.
The 145th.
Oh. Smirnoff. The 145th
episode of Drunk Doctor Who.
Wherein we discuss the
145th serial, Trial of the Timelord, parts 5 through 8, Mindwarp.
Let's do the Mindwarp again.
Let's made that same joke earlier.
Who?
Carissa.
Oh.
Alright, I'm Hatter, this is Holden. What are we drinking today?
Today I picked up some Smirnoff Ice Pink Lemonade.
Oh, I'm drinking Magma Flame, as par for the course.
Feels very Miami.
Miami Vice.
Like, it's the Miami font. The neon and the
Alright,
trees.
if you were with us last week or you've seen this before,
Miami Heat.
this is a continuation of the Trial of the Time Lord, the 23rd season of Doctor Who.
Yeah, and we're watching it all back to back. We went and we changed outfits before we watched parts 5, 6.
But we
7,
changed
8.
the date to 6 days later. No, but this is the next week. But we've only got back to Mondays.
Yeah, we're back on Monday.
Alright, if you notice on the cover, this is the DVD, although we watched it on Blu-ray. 6th Doctor, Perry. Yay!
Hey.
And our antagonists, we have several.
Drum roll.
Sill's back!
Sill's back.
Yay!
My favorite thing about Sill is the first time we saw him, it was just Sill. And he was super weird and small and did a weird tongue thing.
Yeah.
And we thought,
creepy.
oh, that's just his alien race. Nope, it's just him. Yeah, there are others like him. They don't do that.
Just Sill.
It's
He's
just
creepy
Sill.
even amongst his own alien
Yeah.
race. Oh my gosh. Alright, so anyway, Sill's back, and we have Lord Kiv, who's also a bad guy. Crowley, is that his name?
Crowley?
Yeah, the scientist.
Oh, Crozier.
Crozier. Crozier's a scientist. And besides for some assorted guards, those three are the big bad guys. For good guys, well, Doctor and Perry, and we have Brian Blessed.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yathrop?
Kronos.
Kronos.
It's
King Kronos.
Kronos. Yeah.
Kronos. Alright, anyway, so the Doctor and Perry, well, this is a continuation of Trial of the Time Lord. You got the whole trial set and all that still going on with the Valyard. Oh, yeah, don't forget the Valyard. With the Valyard, the Inquisitor, and Time Lords in the background who never speak, doing this trial. We're going to skip most of the trial part until we get to the end because it's mostly immaterial. Oh, bad pun, yeah. It's mostly immaterial. It's just filler until we get to the end. Anyway, so, but there's a continuous cutting in of stuff and it's fairly annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a plot reason for it, but we find out in the 4th serial why and all that. So it's coming down the pipe.
It's not that, the Doctor's a criminal to his Time Lord species and
Kinda.
constantly endangers his companions and meddles in time. And
No, but the Doctor is kind of bad. Anyways.
he's very bad sometimes.
Yes,
Especially
yes,
calling bakers. Call it bakers.
Yeah, he's a
bit naughty.
Alright, so in this, the Doctor and Perry, and this is not a direct continuation from the previous one, because we find out there's some...
A little interim.
Yeah, a little interim. They land on planet Thetos...
Thoros Beta.
Thoros Beta. Yeah, Beta.
And it has like... The color effects hurt my eyes. Really weird, bright pink filter,
and all that,
but it's
yeah.
supposed to be like the pink fluorescent or bioluminescent algae or something in the water. I don't know.
And the ocean area looks like it was filmed at the White Cliffs of Dover. But who knows?
There's the whole chain to the rock thing.
Oh yeah, we find that out later. Rock of Sorrows, Chain of Sorrows.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Doctor and Perry are looking for whomever made...
Isn't that on Theros Block?
No.
Chain to the rock, yeah.
No.
One in the white?
I don't think so.
Oh.
There might be. Probably is.
It's... Boy, you folded fast.
Alright, I folded like a cheap suit.
You're like, no, maybe, probably.
Okay, I've been drinking. Alright. So anyway, Doctor and Perry land on this planet, Thoros Beta. They go into a cave system because they're looking for the reason the waves went out and came back so quickly or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they wind up finding... And Perry's like, I can't believe that it looks like there's no industry on this planet. How'd they make this device that shoots these beams and all that?
Yeah.
And he's like...
Scurry.
Yeah, he's like, well, there's industry here. And they go into this cave, and this creature shows up. The Doc, D-A-A-K, or no, Rock, R-A-A-K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Rock.
That's it.
Looks like it's some weird sea creature with a big, what are those fish that put the little thing out?
The anglerfish?
Yeah, the anglerfish. Looks like one of those.
Sean Connery shows up, right? He goes, the Rock.
No.
Oh, okay. Just like Chain to the Rock. There's a lot of, like, Greek mythology references.
To be fair, there are some, yeah. Well, Greek and Viking.
Oh yeah, Viking too, because of
King Yurthukarip or whatever.
Kronos.
Your Kronos. Alright, so this thing grabs Perry and tries to choke her. The Doctor frees Perry, but the thing grabs him and tries to choke him. And he zaps it and kills it with the little gun that they were messing with earlier.
It kind of looks like this weird plant monster, and it's another almost callback to the... What was it? The strange planet, the mysterious planet.
Mm-hmm.
It was too violent for Australia, and they had to cut it out. The strangling scene.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop them now.
So after the Doctor and Perry kill the creature, they find what looks to be old 1960s or early 70s, mega computers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he's like, oh, this is a system for turning the stuff on the planet into energy. That's where they're getting their energy from, or the waves and all that. And Perry's like, cool. And at the meantime, a klaxon starts going off, an alarm. Perry's like, we should get out of here. Doctor's like, I agree. And they run up the ramp, and there are guards.
The klaxon shuts off. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, let's go.
They found who they were looking for.
Yep.
It was a...
And then, we never did get the name of the head guard, did we?
It was...
The guy
Vern? Or Tuza?
No, Tuza was the leader of the rebels.
Oh, then Vern? No, Vern's dead.
Vern does die eventually, I think.
No, I don't think we ever do get that.
Kind of a flat nose.
Yeah.
Wore the hat really well. Yeah, anyway, so had a lot of nice quips. He did.
Yeah.
So the guards are like, what are you doing here? And they're like, well, where's your submersible? Because they must have come in an underwater thing. And he's like, oh, up the coast. Oh, so are you part of Crozier's team? Oh, yes, we must be. Doctor's like, yeah, sure. He says, okay,
convenient.
we'll check that. We'll check this out. Can't be too careful.
Mm-hmm.
And so Doctor goes, oh yes, of course not. He becomes completely, what is the word I used earlier? Obsequious.
Yeah.
It becomes completely a lick spill. Yeah, can't be too careful. And then the head guard looks at him and goes,
good old.
May I take the gun? Oh yes, of course. You can't be too careful. And they lead them in, you know.
Mm-hmm. The Doctor lets slip, oh, good old Crozier, and the head guard goes, he's very young.
Old.
Yeah. I think it's about time you describe Crozier to me, and then the Doctor's ruse starts to crumble.
Well, you should have just said old as in terms of I've known him a while.
Yeah.
Didn't do that. The doctor panics. But in the meantime, they brought the Rock, R-A-A-K, his body, because apparently this creature, the island of Dr. Moroish,
Yeah.
had been experimented on.
Mm.
And so they need to find out why it was being violent, because according to the guards, there's no way he would have attacked the doctor and Perry. But according to what we saw, he attacked the doctor and Perry.
Which is kind of hilarious because they act like it's this very gentle host creature that they've been test tube raising, and then they pull the blanket off of its face and they go, and it's like, oh, it's so innocent and it's dead, but it's this big fanged, horrific looking creature.
But who knows? Yeah. So they get a big stretcher and they bring the mannequin-esque model out.
Yeah.
and the doctor's like, this is when he says, "Oh yeah, good old Crozier," and he's like, "Oh, he's young for a man of science." He's like, "Well, maybe you should describe Crozier to me." And Doctor quickly goes, "Well, tell you what, I think I saw the Rock blink. He may not be dead."
Yeah.
And Perry's like, "What, blink?" He said, "Oh yeah, you." And she's like, "Ooh." He's like, "Well, there's no accounting for alien taste."
Mm.
So Doctor goes around the other side of the stretcher, which is being held by two pallbearers, and he's looking at it and goes, "Oh yeah, you could quite possibly be alive." Then he says something like,
That works though. Did you know?
"What?"
It's really so. You're single. You're an eligible bachelor, and you're at the bar and you want to do a really subtle wink, and I've kind of mastered it. You have to, it's quick, it's subtle, works every time.
And if they come up to you and slap you, you go, "Oh, sorry, nervous tick." Sorry.
Perry is now pretending to be the doctor's medical assistant as they prep the skedaddle procedure test.
Yep, so the doctor goes, "Come around the other side." So they
what?
each put their hands under the deal and like, "You ready for the skedaddle test?" "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay," on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And they flip the...
Skedaddle.
Yeah, they flip the stretcher over and the creature lands on a couple of guards and the pallbearers are shocked and the doctor and she run off,
Yeah, that poor creature.
Well, I was already
Very
dead, but yeah.
docile and not at all violent.
So they run into this man-wolf.
Yes.
Doctor and Perry escape down into an area where there's only this thing there that will kill them, and they'll collect the bodies later. And they find a giant jawbone or something. And
yeah. So,
but they never really find the creature unless the creature is the man-wolf.
I guess.
Yeah. So there's this man-wolf manacled to the ground.
He was a biological experiment, kind of like the rack.
Mm.
And all I can think about is he has these big prosthetic fangs.
Yeah.
And every time he's on camera, all you can think is, man, that actor's jaw must be so tired. He couldn't even close his mouth because prosthetics. Yeah, he just opened it as wide as he could.
Yeah. But I mean,
exhausting.
Well, it's like that guy in the Tribe of Gum. He put the
Tribe of Gum.
Yeah, the caveman in the very first cereal.
Oh,
who put
the sandwiches.
Who blackened his teeth.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, we're shutting down for the day." What? You remember that?
No.
Adventures in Space and Time, the docudrama.
Oh.
And they were going through the first cereal, and the guy was like, he didn't want to blacken his teeth. Because you got to put coal on it. Oh, the one was like, "I'll do it," and then he blackens his teeth, and he comes back out, and they're shutting down for the day.
It's funny because they put activated charcoal in toothpaste now.
It's so weird, isn't it?
The health craze.
My brother uses that toothpaste, and I've tried it, and it's interesting. Yeah. But anyway, so this man-wolf, this island of Dr. Moreau experiment, is like, help me. And Perry's like, "We should help him." And then something happens and they run away, and I was just like, "We'll come back to him. there's other things that are more important going on at the moment. I've got a feeling about this. And so they leave him, unfortunately, for the bit.
Yeah, because the guards are coming around the corner. So they sacrifice their new wolf friend to distract the guards.
No.
Hightail it. And... So, does the rat count as a death?
Well, it seemed to be a sentient creature. It depends on whether or not you only count deaths that we absolutely know are sentient creatures, or if you want to count things we think are sentient creatures.
We'll count them.
We'll count them.
It's 5.
Okay, 5 total deaths?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, including, spoilers, Dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Doctor and Perry run away. In the meantime, we go to this laboratory where you have Crozier, this looks to be about 34, 35, kind of Gene Wilderish hair, man of science who says very few words. He has a conservation of words that I've seen in very few characters, where he only says exactly what needs to be said at that moment. No fluff, no adjectives or adverbs. It's just, this is it, you know?
Yeah.
And he's really good at it, but he's super serious the whole time.
Very direct and to the point. He's kind of like the Dr. Frankenstein of the serial. He's trying to like transfer consciousness.
Yeah.
And then he's so, plain and hurt until the very end, where you finally see him go a little stir crazy. He gets kind of manic. It's alive.
Well, that's what every mad scientist does. Not quite as mad, it would seem, as the brain of Morbius, but kind of mad. But very, very, very competent and methodical. So anyway, he's trying in here. You see Lord Kiv, which is of the same race as Syl, which we see.
Except he's about twice his size.
Right, Syl is the actor's an actual dwarf.
Yeah.
And his legs fit in that little suit. Lord Kiv and the other one who shows up later, which we never get a name for, nor is he explained why, I didn't know you were here. That whole point. We don't get it. Those are full-bodied men with prosthetics here and their bodies down below.
Under their little...
Right, under the table. You see Syl being carried, and you never see the other ones being carried unless it's the mannequin one.
Yeah.
So they're you never see that they don't have the legs and stuff.
But so Syl is still unique in the fact that he does the weird tongue thing, which is just him, not...
Right. He ululates, for those of you who know what that means.
I think you should... There you go.
Yeah. That's ululating. I don't know why it's called that, but that's what it's called.
Is that related to yodeling?
No, it's something that some Middle Eastern and African countries do, sometimes as a war cry.
Oh.
Sometimes, I believe, don't count me on this, I'm 100% sure, sometimes as a mourn.
Syl's is more like Hannibal Lecter-y.
It's creepy. Yeah, what Syl does is close to ululating, but it's also kind of a gurgle or a laughter, but it's kind of crossed with that, which is why it's so creepy. Anyway, so the whole idea is that they're going to transfer Kiv's mind, because he's this massive intellect in terms of commerce, and he gets Thoros Beta all their money. They're going to transfer his mind because he's dying, because his brain is enlarging for some weird reason we don't understand.
Was that, I think they talked about it, it was also a part of, I don't know, wait, no, never mind. I thought Crozier, the doctor, maybe had something to do with it, like he's doing experiments before.
No.
But then they specifically called him to the planet because his
right
brain wasn't fitting in his head.
Right. So apparently, at some point, they knew this guy, Lord Kiv, was going to die, and their entire planet, Thoros Beta, depends on him to make money because he's a genius at commerce, and he makes deals that are so good for them. So apparently 10 years before, they had called in Crozier to figure out a way to transfer his consciousness, albeit just as brain waves or brain patterns, or maybe as an actual brain, into the body of another creature.
Yeah.
And the guy's been working on it for a while. And I think fairly recently, for some cancerous or whatever reason, Lord Kiv's brain was getting bigger and giving him headaches and problems, and so the transfer became immediately necessary, and they were looking for a suitable candidate.
I have the same problem sometimes.
Your brain gets too big?
Yeah.
It's called a big head, don't worry.
Yeah. It's compounded by the thick skull.
Yeah, and that's actually stated in the cereal. If the skull's too thick, it can't take your brain. So anyway, Crozier is just dedicated absolutely to the science. Mm-hmm. He's just mad with the science. And Kiv's like, okay, you gotta transfer me. I can only handle one more day of these headaches. And if you fail, you and everyone else who fails to save me will die. Because he has these litter bearers. And they're gonna kill everybody who fails to save Kiv because they have those orders.
Yeah. Liquefy them.
Yeah.
Sounds painful.
Yeah. So in the meantime, Crozier is doing experiments on a warrior king, who is played by Brian Blessed. And if you don't know who Brian Blessed is, if you've seen Flash Gordon, yeah, Gordon's alive. Yeah, no, but he's the guy with a very loud, booming, amazing voice. Who my wife thought he was at least like 6'1", 6'2", but he's like 5'10". But he projects bigger than life. The actor was phenomenal. I think he's passed away.
He reminds me of Tim the Toolman's assistant on Home Improvement.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It looks like him.
Only the beard.
Oh, the whole face.
Well, a little bit of stoutness, yeah.
Body proportions.
But anyway, so Crozier has to give sedatives to King Yarkana. Right? Yarkana? Yrkanos. To King Yrkanos, Brian Blessed, to keep him, and he's like, yeah, all he knows is how to fight and kill, and we have to keep giving him more of this stuff because it takes longer when they're more stupid.
Yeah. The morphine trip's not working.
Yeah, exactly.
Pump it up. More milliliters stat.
5 rounds rapid.
Passes out.
Yeah, so Brian Blessed passes out. In the meantime, the Doctor and Perry have been caught, and they are taken to the laboratory. And
with Yrkanos.
Yep. And they're like, And the Doctor's there, and they're Syl. And Doctor and Perry are like, oh, so good to see such a friendly face. Yeah. Syl's like, oh. And he looks at Perry and goes,
yeah.
He goes, yeah. It's like, the repulsive one. The time has not treated you well. To be fair, both, as we said in the last episode, both Colin Baker, who even on the Blu-ray looks fatter, and Perry both fleshed out during those 18 months, and they both look a bit, they've got a little more weight on them.
He's looking real shaggy too. Like it used to be here. Now it's like doing
not quite, but close, yeah. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, that looks like it's from his first season. And the second season, his face is much fuller, and the hair is much larger, yeah.
It's long and heavier, so the curls are really fighting to stay, permed. They're kind of sagging.
Anyway, so what they're trying to figure out is, Crozier is trying to figure out if the Rock actually got violent and turned on the Doctor and Perry when he was supposed to be docile, that meant that he may have reverted to his previous form as hostile.
Conditioning wore off or didn't work.
Right, and he's one of the brain transferable experiments, mind transferable experiments. So he has to find out from the Doctor if it's true or not that he was attacked by the Rock. And so that's why they were hunting the Doctor, but they caught him. And so they get the Doctor in there, into the laboratory, and Syl shows up.
Adder, I have some bad news.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in a car accident. The only way to save you is transferring your brain into another creature.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, we have this giant anglerfish we're going to put it in. Does it ever strike you as odd how Kiv is just like, oh yeah, put my brain in anything? I don't know.
Okay, well, they have technology beyond
It's
our
just
imagination.
this giant beastly creature with fangs. And it's like, this is where your brain's going to go. It's like, alright.
Well, they're looking for a suitable body for him for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, they find one that looks exactly like him, except for instead of green, he's brown.
What
and
is that?
They use the same face because it's him.
Same actor.
Okay, so I was like, I know this actor's voice. I know this voice. I know this actor. Where do I know him from? And turns out it's like Christopher Ryan, I think that's the name. And he was in The Young Ones.
Mm-hmm.
He was the older, cooler, shorter guy with the shades in The Young Ones. And I was like, I knew that voice. And then after we checked that, after the first episode, all I could see was...
Oh, yeah.
I could just see the guy for The Young Ones. I'm like, yep, that's him, and yep, that's him.
Did that break your immersion?
No, I've seen this episode, the serial a few times. And I can turn that off fairly well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Unless it's
Suspension of
stupidly blatant, yeah.
There's some pretty blatant immersion breaking in Doctor Who.
So they, alright, so they take the Doctor, and Syl's like, okay, we need to find out what he knows, because we need to save Lord Kiv.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, okay, what do you want us to do? And Syl goes, boom, and...
Strap him up, use the brain conditioner.
Yep, so...
Crozier's like, I don't know if this is going to work as an interrogation tool.
So his pallet bearers take the Doctor, throw him down on the... not an operating table per se, but pretty much.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't really fight it too hard.
Well, he does, but they strap him down, and they're like, okay, and they put the cap on him. They're like, okay, so...
How come they didn't need to shave his head?
We don't need that for what they were doing. The full mind transference required the shaving head, but not just finding out. Because notice Lord Brian...
King
King Yrcanos didn't have a shaved head. Nice. So they're asking the Doctor these questions. Can you tell us? And Syl looks at Crozier and goes, we can use this as a device to determine the truth, right? And Crozier goes, I don't know, it might kill him. And Syl's like, well, he would gladly give up his sanity for the truth and for the science. And then they turn on the juice on the Doctor, and end of episode 1. Boom.
Right there. Cliffhanger.
Do you have any questions about episode 1?
So the court cutaways is very kind of slapsticky, I guess. It's almost like the comedic relief. Like they cut away so the Doctor can insult Valyard a few times, and then they get back to the more...
Maybe overall, but I would argue in this serial, Brian Blessed is the comedic relief.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, the stuff he yells. What was it? My Thap! Or, Ragnar! He's yelling all this, not Ragnos is nonsense, but he's yelling all these nonsense words, and you're supposed to know what they mean, and it's hilarious. So anyway, Theros Beta and Theros Alpha are twin planets in the solar system. And apparently they revolve around each other as well as around the sun. And Theros Beta has Syl's race, which I don't think we ever get a name for.
I was checking my notes, and nope.
Yeah, the little Syl critters.
I didn't write anything.
The slugs. Yeah. And Theros Alpha has humanoids. And apparently Theros Beta attacked with their superior technology the warrior race from Theros Alpha, the Croteps, and managed to subdue them and make most of them slaves.
I thought they were talking about like the Alpha Centauri.
No. This is Theros Beta and Theros Alpha. So
different Alpha. Yeah.
Right. Alpha Centauri is different from Theros Alpha.
Yeah.
So Theros Beta has all these slaves from Theros Alpha, the humanoids, with the little green microchips on their necks to control them. Yeah. And that comes into play later.
Which I guess Crozier is also part of that. Did they bring him there?
No, I think Crozier was brought from somewhere else. He seems absolutely unlike any Theros Alpha. All right, most of the
right, but was he involved in the mind conditioning of the alphas?
I don't think so, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. But to be fair, in the serial, the Theros Alphans are shown as
mostly a darker tone.
Yeah, a darker tone. They're either black or they are like an Indian tone.
Yeah.
Indian.
Crozier's very British.
Right. Crozier, bad guy, very British. The good guys are not white, except the Doctor and Perry. But
this was a very progressive serial or story. We had a transgender.
Progressive.
And
okay. We'll get to that, but it's more of a transmutation.
Transfusion.
Yeah. But anyway,
and he liked it too. He's like, I like this body.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Spoilers.
So anyway, apparently those on Theros Alpha are of darker complexion. Brian Blessed is given some makeup to help him with that, as I'm sure many of the extras are.
Is he also from the Alpha?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Or he's from, I think so. It's kind of vague. He's kept alive in the beginning so he can sign contracts. We're not exactly sure where he's from, but he's going to help lead. He's got that extra interesting makeup.
Yeah.
But he's going to help lead the Theros Alphans.
Like Chained to the Rocks, that block.
Yeah. Theros. Anyway, he's going to lead them to victory. So, but yeah, a lot of the everyone with Theros Alpha is darker. It is what it is. All the litter bearers are black. The head of the guards is black. A bunch of the other people, fine, cool. That's what the people they took from Theros Alpha, and all of the rebels pretty much are Indian color. The different shades of brown. Yeah.
Similar to, that's the race I think Kronos is from, because they kind of have similar makeup. Whereas it's mostly women we see. They're more caramelly. They have
caramelly?
The eyeshadow. And he has that sort of same eyeshadow, the same colors, like the silver and the bronze.
Yeah. And we don't care, it's just an interesting observation.
So it's very diverse. We have a lot of socioeconomics going on between these two twin planets. A lot of different cultures.
Yeah, more socio on Alpha and economic on Beta.
We have the slugs that enslave the
humans, yeah. And kind of interesting. And apparently some of them don't need to be slaves. Some of them go willingly. Like the head of the guard, whose name we don't remember.
Right.
But he has a kind of flat nose and wears his hat really well.
Luke Kozer?
I don't know.
The judge's name is Sagacity.
Okay. All right.
Saga City.
Okay, now hold on. Okay, so a little bit on the trial part. in this episode, very specifically, and it continues forth. In the second episode, very specifically, continues forth. The Valyard starts calling the Inquisitor sagacity, which is a very servile term for one who is much above me, for one who is better than I, for one who's more intelligent than I, if I remember correctly. And the Doctor was like, sagacity? Really? And, when is that an actual term? And he's like, it's just befitting the role. And the Inquisitor's like, I approve.
And then we have Dwarf, and he also has a very British localized title. Or what do they call it?
Equius? What is it?
Yeah, something like that.
You didn't write it down?
No.
Okay. All right, hold on.
I just wrote down Dwarf.
Dwarf, like Dwarf Ongolf.
Yeah.
Alright, so anyway, the Doctor gets taken down and his brain gets kind of fried. End of episode 1. Episode 2, King Arcanos goes a bit nuts.
Yeah.
Manages to break the straps that bind him. And I'm assuming this because the Doctor had pulled a bunch of the wires from the device at the end of episode 1 before everyone came in. And I think he short-circuited everything. Which hopefully it was not why he was experiencing the problems and the pain. But possibly.
Maybe.
So King Arcanos, Brian Blessed, gets up, breaks his bonds, goes a little bit crazy, and he starts throwing things at everybody. Syl.
He's doing a little chemistry experiments.
Right.
Throwing potions.
Yeah. He just takes everything, throws it, knocks it over. And what's his name? Cyrnos? Krynos?
You're Krynos?
No. The scientist.
Oh, Crozier?
Crozier. What a weird name. Alright, so Crozier, when all this is happening, runs over and protects a little brain that's out in the open. And that brain was looked at before by Perry, but never comes into play again in the entire story.
Yeah, it has like.
But that's what he protects.
A heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
there's all this chaos going on.
And he runs over and protects his little brain without a jar, without anything, just kind of beating there.
So we never find out what's with the brain.
Correct. There's a lot of stuff we do not find out in this serial.
It's left kind of open-ended.
Right.
If we don't get Crozier.
If it was not part of the trial of a Time Lord, we probably would have had scenes that would have filled everything in. But because it was part of the trial of the Time Lord, and it was only 4 episodes rather than 5 or 6, we don't get all that explanation. We get a lot of stuff left unsaid. It's like Lost or The Leftovers. There's a lot of stuff that's not explained.
No closure for Crozier.
That's bad but true.
You voted today?
Yeah, I voted.
Hey, early voting.
Yes.
You go to Market Street?
Yes, I picked up some laundry detergent and more frozen broccoli like we had yesterday.
Yeah. That was good.
And I voted.
Lean steak.
Oh, thank you. And I voted.
Is that who are we voting for? Do you have to be registered or?
Well, you have to be registered to vote.
I mean, is it like a party registered vote?
Well, not here in Texas. In Texas, if you choose a party, when you go into the vote in the primary, they'll have Democrat and Republican, and they'll like point to the one you want to vote for because they don't want you to be afraid to say out loud.
Oh, okay.
So if you point to Democrat, you vote in the Democratic primary. If you point Republican, you vote in the Republican primary.
Oh, it was the primaries vote?
Yeah, this is currently the primaries.
Ah.
So the parties are selecting who they want to run for the main election.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're like a third party, like Libertarian,
yeah,
they don't do primaries. They do what's called
caucus.
No, not a caucus. Conventions. They do county conventions. So on the primary day, You would go to a place like here in Lubbock County, and you would sit down at the table and cast your vote verbally. The other people at the table at a county convention, and then it goes to state convention. Then it goes to the national convention.
Sounds like you have the two grown-ups tables, and then you have the children's table, and they're kind of doing the pretend thing.
Well, I don't know why the two main parties, Republican and Democrat, do it with the primary and Libertarians, and I guess Greens and others. I don't know. Do it with the county convention, but that's the way it's done. I don't know if they have to pay or if it's law or whatever, but that's the way it's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go vote like that, you can only vote in the one primary or convention. So if you vote in the Republican primary, you can't then go to a Libertarian convention and vote there. It's one or the other. And then the winners...
How do they know, though?
You have to sign a statement saying you have not voted in any other primary.
So it's like the honor rules?
Well, combined with if they catch you as election fraud, and you go to jail. And apparently there are people looking out for that, huh?
Oh, there are? Okay.
Supposedly, yeah. I don't know. I've never tested the system. I'm only voting in the one primary, which is the one I voted in today. Okay.
Gotcha.
So anyway, so episode 2, the doctor got zapped. The doctor's kind of not quite there for a bit. King Yarkanath causes enough havoc, and he literally looks at Syl, like on his way out of the laboratory.
Yeah.
He could kill half of the people in there easily. But he just looks at them with disgust, like Syl and Lord Kiv. And he just does this, and leaves.
So why does he spare Syl after...
I think he considers him an unworthy opponent. And considers his actions dishonorable because he's not fighting on a battlefield. Despite the fact they held him and were going to try to transfer Lord Kiv's brain into his,
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your whole cow.
I will die like a warrior! Anyway, so he escapes, and in the ensuing chaos, Perry and the doctor escape. They follow along, and King Yarkana? Yeah. And the doctor and Perry meet up. King Yarkana's like, yes, I will take my enemies and I will stack up their heads like a pile of melons. And the doctor
is depicted,
the doctor in his current problematic state is like, yeah, I would like that. He's just kind of dazed and everything. He's not himself after he got zapped by the machine.
And he experiences amnesia, so he doesn't recall it in the courtroom either.
Well, we don't know how much of that is that zapping and how much is him being taken out of time later. So anyway, the doctor gets talked by King Yarkana into going to getting weapons to attack. And then King Yarkana, Perry is like, why do we have to fight? Why do we have to do that? And King Yarkana picks her up. Brian Blessed is strong. Picks her up and goes, we will drown the rivers in the blood of our enemies. She's like, okay. And he drops her. A bunch of scenes like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just a force of nature.
Yeah. King Yarkana, because Perry has spirit and gumption, falls in love with her during the course of this serial.
Yeah, I like when they're in prison together and they...
Yeah, it's kind of touching, Yeah, what is love? Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the doctor goes along with Perry and King Yarkana, and they're about to attack the area where the slaves are. The slaves who've been sent for conditioning, getting a little deal on their neck that'll control them, or possibly being turned into an experiment. It's kind of a slave depot. And
or like what Elon Musk is about to with the brain chips, Neuralink.
what?
He's gonna enslave.
What?
I mean, that's gotta be what it's for.
Have you seen Kingsman?
The first one?
Yeah.
The second? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Go crazy on that. Love that.
Free Wi-Fi, though.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Now and forever. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so King kind of runs into the slave pen. He's attacking one of the guards. And the doctor, completely out of sorts, because he is completely not himself, is like, look behind you. And the guard turns around. Rise King kind of is coming upon him.
Gives it away.
Yeah.
Alerts the bad guys. Why would he do that? The doctor's out for his own self-interest. Endangers his companions.
Find out, yeah.
Interesting statistics are brought up in the courtroom about how the doctor's constantly endangering his companions.
I'm going to use restroom. Please keep the plot going.
Or not. We're going to talk about anything but... I'm just kidding. So your Kenos has to hightail it after he's been given away. And then Perry takes off with him, and because she's obviously very confused when the doctor kind of ratted them out and said, hey, look, those guys are sneaking up on you. Yurkanos, curse you, doctor, you are now my sworn enemy, I shall have revenge. And they take off, and that leaves Syl and the rest of the guards and the doctor in the circular command room, and Syl's like, what's this all about, you know? And the doctor said, well, you know, I'm here for my own self-preservation. Obviously, I gotta look out for numero uno. And so it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And the doctor's like, your brain conditioning worked. I'm just like you. We're one and the same. And it's kind of... It's so interesting seeing these different perspectives, kind of like body swaps, right? The doctor has the mind of a villain, right? And he really plays it well. Like, it's almost like Colin Baker was meant to be a villain. At least he plays up the evil side of the doctor well, which I found was interesting. And then the fact that they're also putting the doctor on trial for basically all the crimes he's committed in the past, dead companions, interfering in time, you know, people get hurt and they die because of the doctor. I would argue, so it's interesting to finally see the Time Lords hold the doctor accountable, whereas they kind of used him as a pawn to interfere with their little, I don't know, proxy games and whatnot. So we cut away to Perry and Yurkanos who took off, and they run back into Dorf, the man-wolf dog guy. and he's very kind of feral at first because he's scared. And Yurkanos has to, down dog, bed boy. You know, pacifies him, and then he recognizes him. Oh, this is my steward, Dwarf. What happened to you? They experimented on you. A lot of really dark subject matter with like the biological experiments, and it really kind of explores the dark and horrific nature of that, whereas in the past, Doctor Who sci-fi tropes have been kind of very light, and you know, their practical application of you know how that would actually affect people. But so it's this more mature nature being explored here with these biological experiments being conducted on the people of Theros Alpha, and how they're being enslaved, and you know, they're having their DNA scrambled and whatnot. So Dorf and Yurkanos, they catch up, they kind of lament the situation, and Yurkanos encourages them and cheers them up, says, don't worry, we'll have revenge. And the doctor and Perry's like, oh, I'm so confused. I don't know why the doctor would do that to us. We cut back to the doctor and Syl, and they're, chatting away. They're hucking it up. Syl's very, cautious, obviously, because of what the doctor did to him in the past. But enters Crozier. He comes in the room, and they start talking doctory, sciencey stuff, and he has this, behavioral conditioner, and he goes, I recognize this technology, and I can help out with this, I can be useful. So they start twiddling away, and they don't really talk about how they're repairing the doctor's damage that he did to the machine.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, look, I broke this.
Partly,
fix it. Don't necessarily acknowledge that. They're just like, oh yeah, that's great. You can help us out because they're into that.
This is another serial that looks like it all happened in a day. The whole trial of a Time Lord looks like it happens in a day.
Yeah.
And then this portion of this serial looks like it happened in a day. Boom, 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 boom.
I mean, I guess you could watch the whole season in a day.
You could, 7 hours.
Which is like kind of...
We chose not to because 14 episodes, damn.
Courtroom sessions
yeah.
can be lengthy.
Right, and because of the different sections and the different story numbers given here in the States,
Right.
Yeah.
But in practical applications, it's kind of, a one-for-one time scale with the audience's perspective.
Close.
It's not necessarily the story happening in real time, it's them watching basically a recap from The Matrix, which can't lie, which is bad because it's incriminating the doctor.
It doesn't lie, but it does.
It does. It omits things and censors, and
which we saw in the first serial. Okay, so anyway, they managed to get Kiv's mind, after a lot of drama, transplanted into the body of the fisherman.
Who's brown? Did they talk about why he's a different color?
He's more primitive.
Stinger? Oh, okay.
That's why he has the stinger still and everything. But the ones on land that get moisturized are green.
Oh, okay.
But it seems to
the
be
algae diet, the slugs.
No. But they only seem to eat green food, so I guess so.
And they like bathe in green moss.
Yeah, what? I guess.
Very moist.
Yeah. But anyway, so they get, after a whole lot of drama, get Kiv's mind in the body of that other guy. Managed to save him because he went under cardiac arrest at one point.
I like how Crozier takes the sip of tea very calmly before he starts trying to resuscitate him.
Oh yeah.
He goes, he's going into cardiac arrest.
Alright,
you won't die on me. What?
Like I said, Crozier is a great character.
Yeah.
Yes.
So weird.
Alright, you realize that now we have to add Syl to the list.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Second appearance.
And to be a third?
There will be a third in the third party stuff.
Third party stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't appear again in the main show. The third appearance is a third party.
Yeah. Because he never dies.
Well,
I
hope he does eventually. Not the actor, the character. Anyway, so they managed to get the guy into the other guy's body. Wow, where's the doctor going when he gets ambushed by King Yakaza or whatever?
Squeaky.
Yeah.
He was actually kind of snapping out of the mind conditioning, and they're talking about how the body's only temporary, but Perry's body could work out well, right? So he's snapping out of the weird psychotic
yeah. So
they wants to save Perry.
Okay, so they send him to the oh man, what's his name? Kronos? Crozier. Crozier's like, doctor, we can find a better body for him. And they Man, wait a minute. No, that's later. Hold on.
Can you read my chicken scratching?
Yeah, okay. So, no, the part you mentioned was later.
Oh, where he's going to pick the new host after the dried-up fisherman host.
Okay, so in the second episode,
the part you're talking about is the very end of episode 2 where your Kronos is like, it's your turn to die, and
he
ambushes him.
Yeah, he ambushes him, but
In
what leads
episode
to
2.
that point? I mean, how did they capture
around.
Perry, and where are they? Hold on.
So they took off after the doctor kind of told them,
Okay,
said, hey,
no.
look, and then they took off. They ran into a dwarf, leaves the doctor and still talking. Crozier, they mess with the machine.
Right.
They mine things.
But hold on. There's the part where Perry runs off by herself and and runs into the room where the lady who's the second to Lord Kiv, besides Syl, who's his assistant, the second to Lord Kiv, wants to maintain a household of women, but she wants individuality in the household. She accepts.
I thought that was. Yeah.
She accepts Perry as a reject from the slave thing, or an escapee, and she says, "Well, I'll take you into the household. Just don't defy me, or I will, like point you out for who you are."
Yeah.
And so at one point,
is that in episode 2?
I think so.
Oh.
So I think what happens is that the doctor and everybody
Here's our timelines.
Right.
Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey stuff. Hey. Here's the wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff we've been drinking. So Perry, the doctor figures out who Perry is, even though Perry disguises her voice.
Yeah, at first, and then the second question, that goes out the window.
Right. So,
talking in her normal voice.
Right. Well, because she's trying to talk to the doctor directly. And the doctor says who she is, and the doctor's like, well, I've got to take you over here because, it's me or you, and it's going to be you because they want, your body for this, for the mind transplant. And she's like, well, I thought you were good. I thought you were unlike the others. She's like, well, I've got to do what I've got to do. In the meantime...
Why does she think the doctor is such a great character, though?
He's done some amazing things He's done some amazing things in the 8 or 9 adventures they've had before this. Including the 5th Doctor giving up his life to save hers. The very second adventure she was on.
Yeah, that was Davison.
Right. But it's still the same character, the Doctor.
Downhill from there, and he choked her.
Yes, but there you go.
Short.
Colin Baker's Doctor is not as likable. Yes, Colin Baker's Doctor is not as likable. So anyway, she's like, I thought you were better. I thought you were about truth, justice, and the American way. She didn't say it like that because she didn't say the American way. And at that moment, King Arcanos, with Dorf, whom he's encountered and come across and saved, they come and they attack. They break the one guard who's there, and then King Arcanos is like, he grabs the gun, the rocket gun off the guy. He's like, okay, Doctor, it's your turn to die. Because he sworn the Doctor is his enemy because the Doctor betrayed him when he was running up. And episode 2. Boom.
No foe is more hated than a former friend. Just the flavor text to Magic the Gathering card.
Which one?
I think it's called Blasphemous Act. No, that's not it. It's 1 and a white, exile target white creature. I think it's sorcery speed. Also like the Theros block.
Okay. You know my favorite Magic the Gathering card?
Yeah.
Flavor text is?
What?
Altar of Dementia.
What does that one say?
It is not that you will go mad. it is that you will beg for madness.
Ooh, ominous.
I love that one. It's so dark.
I like the one with the two Taurans and about the two different paths. I forget it. It was funny.
Oh man, there was one called what was it? Goblin? No, not Goblin Grenade. Goblin Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Step 1, find a cousin. Step 2, put the cousin in the cannon. Step 3, find a cannon. Step 4, find another cousin.
That's funny.
Right. Any questions about episode 2?
The song is a flavor text on those older ones. The doctor has amnesia. Doesn't really remember what's going on.
That's in the trial, not in the episode.
Yeah. The episode 2 is pretty straightforward. He talks about how he's just like Syl because of the mind conditioning. The chain to the rock.
Chain to the rock is episode 2?
Yeah.
Okay. She saved him after he chained her to the rock?
She what?
Saved him after what he did when she was chained to the rock?
She saved him?
Yeah.
No, so he's being real bipolar and saying, I'm here to help you, and then...
Right, that was in episode 2.
Yeah, and then he goes, well, you'll surely die here, and then the intercom voice comes over, and this isn't working, bring her back in.
So we skipped over, or at least I skipped over a part in episode 2 where Perry was caught, chained to a rock, the Rock of Sorrows, when they can control the sea coming in or out, with a Sea of Sorrows, and like I said, the trial parts take out some really, really, really much needed explanation.
It's like they're about to explain something, and then they interrupt. They're like, "Oh, let's skip this part." Just to fix the plot holes.
There are 2 discs at the end of the season called 71 Edits, and there are 71 edits between the 14 episodes of the season that hopefully explain things better.
Oh, so that's like some cleanup we'll have to watch
if you want to. But that'll have to be some heroes and villains stuff, huh?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, so yeah, he kind of tortures Perry on this Rock of Sorrow, threatening for the tide to come in. Just tell us who the Alphans are that you work for. Because I have to please the what are they called? The Morbians? The mentors. I gotta please the mentors. They're gonna use my body and your body. I'll sacrifice you to save my body. And he's just way out of his mind at that point.
Really dark stuff.
Yeah. Alright.
That's about it for episode 2.
Okay, episode 3.
So we have the so they request Mega City. Saga City.
Sagacity. Wait, hold on. Before that. Perry, okay, so the doctor's about to be shot by King Yannikos or whatever. Yeah, Brian Blessed. And Perry knocks down his hand just in time for the doctor to run off.
Why would you do that?
And Brian Blessed picks her up. Why did you do that? And she's like, I don't know. He wasn't always that way. You're the reason this vermin still lives.
Yeah.
And it's obvious he's gaining affection for her over and over, but
and then they interrupt with the courtroom scene.
Yeah.
Obviously your favorite scenes, right?
No, not at all.
Sagacity requests to adjourn the hearing right there in episode 3, which would have cut this whole season short.
No, it probably would have prolonged it.
Oh, like take a break?
And then come back, yeah.
Oh, I thought she was wanting to skip to like a ruling.
No, she was wanting to give him a chance to recoup.
Oh, okay. He does need time to recoup. He's kind of out of it. They're asking him pointed questions. He's like, I don't remember.
His mind has been affected both by the fact he was taking enough time and by the fact that the Matrix is actually showing skewed versions of what happened.
Yeah.
So both of those are messing with him. Anyway,
drug yaps taking a courtroom, like what they did with McAfee. You know that guy?
the software guy?
The guy that made the antivirus?
Yeah. Okay.
Or was it antivirus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Inquisitor's like, do you want to adjourn? Darth's like, no, I'm not Barmy. She's like, Barmy? And the Valor's like, meaning we question his sanity. She's like, no, we don't question your sanity. We just think you're impaired. He's like, no, I want to continue. She's like, would you like some counsel? I give you a defender. He's like, no. If the Time Lords want to take my lives, I don't want to put the hands of my fate in the Time Lords' hands.
Right.
Which is valid.
So when we cut back to the planet, they're launching into brain surgery, open brain surgery.
Yes.
Because they gotta get him over into this fisherman husk.
No, they've already done that, I think.
Oh, they're getting him over to Perry?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the doctor finds out and he wants to get the replace Perry with someone else.
Right. Okay, so the doctor finds out they want Perry. He wants to replace Perry with somebody else.
Detention bay? Where they keep the experiments or the prisoners?
Right, so the doctor is like, well, I like Perry. And Crozier's like, well, she's suitable. You and the Alphans are not.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want her, then we've got to find a replacement. And he's like, okay. So, the doctor runs off to find a replacement.
And Perry and your Kronos are just, yucking it up. They're having a good time in chains, getting to know each other.
Wait, yeah, we skipped some. Because Brian Blessed, Perry, and Dorf were running around in the underground. Looking
in the underground?
Right.
David Bowie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking for the resistance of the Alphans.
Oh, yeah.
And they're looking around, and they run into, what's the white
the
guy's name? Turloff or whatever?
Tuza.
So these are the guys that are Indian looking esque, and they've got the little headbands and stuff. And they're like, well, we don't have a leader, and Brian Bless is like, they are looking for a leader. It is me.
I shall be your king.
Right, exactly.
Lead you to victory.
Lead you to victory. His intonations are great. Anyway, so they're looking around. They finally, like he said, they would find them. The rebels find, of course, just like in Dune.
Destiny.
They find them, and Brian was like, "I will lead you to victory. I will." And so, like, okay, well, let's go get the weapons. It's time to be led to victory. After they're captured, chained, and they convince them. Right. So they go to the weapons depot.
What a turnaround!
Yeah. And Perry talks them into sparing their lives. Dwarf, King Arcana's, and Perry's.
Yeah, because they're wanting to execute Dorf because they're like, oh, he's an abomination.
Well, they want to execute all of them because they don't want them to be used for the mentor's experimentations.
And Perry makes the argument, well, he didn't choose this. He's a victim
to do this.
Yeah. So they go, oh, okay, I see your point. If anyone, they would be the ones willing to help you against the mentors.
Right, and King Arcana does a great job of, I won't beg, but I am king, and I will lead you to victory. So they get convinced, and they go off to go to the weapons depot, and he's like, Yuna? What's his name?
Tuza?
Tuza's like, tell him we're coming. It's finally happening. We have a leader. And they get there, and there's a big rock slide that's all covered and captured. And they managed to dig out some of the rocks. And
Vern.
Huh?
Vern.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Who's this 20-year-old who's been aged to 100?
Lina. That was Lena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then later
she also did.
that was Lena, and then Vern's the guy under the rock slide who's guarding that. But Lena was the first one.
They're both dead.
Yeah, they're both dead. Turned old age by some of the weapons from the Sil's Thor's Abadens or whatever.
That thing.
Yeah. So they're there, and they all get captured by the main guard and the other guards. And they get taken to a prison cell. And there's the four of them. They get zapped.
That's when
end of episode 3. They get zapped. I think they're dead.
All 4 of them.
Yeah. That's Yuza,
3.
Yorkana, Dorf, and Perry.
Mm-hmm.
We think they're dead. They're not. Episode 4.
Yeah.
They get up. It's like, you're lucky you're not dead.
We're not really left waiting very long.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's like,
surprise, we're fine.
Yeah, and but they did a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And the main guard's like, be lucky you're alive. They just need you for the experiments. And King Yorkana's like, I would have killed you, you weakling.
Snapped like a twig.
Yeah. So they get taken to a prison cell. Mm-hmm. And okay, did we talk about all the giant ass vault doors everywhere in this complex?
Oh yeah, the set design and the
right. They're like bank vault doors.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
It's cool. Yeah.
It is cool. So they get taken to a cell, and they say everyone but not you, Yorkana.
Like, I guess it floods, so they're kind of like submarine hatches. They're watertight doors.
Okay.
Because they're semi-aquatic slug people. And
okay, that's theoretically viable. I think it's more violence-based, but but the thought thing is actually theoretically viable. Maybe both.
Why not both?
All right, so King Yorkana, Dorf, the Wolf Man, and Perry get put into a cell. Yuza's taken off, and King Yorkana's like, so it's going to be execution one by one. And Perry's like, oh, great, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so Yorkana's taken off to the experimentation center, and Perry's like, oh, I want to be with the doctor. I mean, I feel displaced and I want to go home ever since I've been here.
Yeah.
But not so much home, my place, but my time. I want to be with those I love.
Yeah.
And King Yorkana's like, what is love?
What is love?
She's like, well, it's when you feel for somebody more than you do for yourself. When you want better for them than you want for yourself. Mm-hmm. And maybe even your life. He's like,
I don't care about my life.
Yeah, I don't care about my life. If I die, I become a higher level warrior, and I'm already king. And if I die now, I go up to wherever the hell was it?
Asgard.
No, well, it was the equivalent of Asgard, but it was some place with the gods where you fight forever, and just like Asgard.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's a lot of Viking in this. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, of course. And so then the doctor shows up.
Yeah.
Wait, first of all, she gets taken out, right? She gets taken out to go to become the vessel for Lord Kiv.
Right. And the doctor's looking for someone else
besides her.
Yeah.
He goes to the place where the people are held and under experimentation, and there's this weird guy, the same race as Sil and Lord Kiv.
Never get his name.
Yeah, we never get his name.
But when we first see Sil, we see those three. I think it was him, and then Kiv and Sil being carried through.
Right,
so
but this guy
in the detention bay is like the doorman.
Well, this guy's kind of older, and he's weird because he's not given a name. He's not given a whole crap ton of time on screen, but the guards treat him like royalty. Oh, "Oh, sir, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know you were watching."
Right.
And they treat him like royalty. Who the heck is he? It's never explained.
It's kind of like their huts from, like Jabba the Hutt in Star Wars.
Yeah, I know Jabba the Hutt.
Like that. Or Pizza the Hutt.
Spaceballs. But no, who this person is.
They're the ruling class. So just
okay, I can see them being the ruling class, but it's just so weird that it's like, "Oh, sir, I didn't know you were here." At the same time, the guy is not given a name, not given much screen time except this one episode, or any screen time except this one episode, and his whole personality is, "I don't like noise."
Yeah.
Yeah. "I don't like noise. The barbarian king's so loud. Why don't you kill him?"
Thank you for sparing you, for not shouting.
Yeah, he's like, "Thank you. Well, for sparing you? No, for not shouting." Anyway, so the Doctor manages to go and rescue Dorf and Lord Yukonis by convincing a guard to open up the deal, the jail cell, and the guard's like, "Oh, cover me." The Doctor takes the gun and he opens it up, and then the Doctor points a gun at him. They throw him in the jail cell. They leave. Lord Yukonis is like, "Why did you let me go? You are my sworn enemy. I vowed to kill you." And the Doctor's like,
"Gotta say Perry.
We gotta say Perry, your bride to be." Well, Yukonis is like, "My bride to be, Perry Gilliam of the Brown."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I vowed to kill you." And the Doctor's like, "We have a common enemy, the Mentors. We can deal with that later." So they rush off. Eventually, they decide to free the slaves, the Alphans, in the complex by going and destroying the room where the computers control the slaves, which I believe is the room that was originally seen by the Doctor and Perry that was guarded by the Rock. Okay, so they go.
I'm the Liberator.
Yes, they go. They destroy that room, and then all the slaves are kind of whirling around like dervishes, but they're free. And Yukonis decides to do this because I will be known not only as the great conqueror, but the great liberator. Yeah. I demand this honor of the action that will defeat the Mentos.
Then he rides away on his dragon to fight the White Walkers.
Not quite, but close.
Yeah. So the Doctor, where is he at this point? Is he walking backwards into a TARDIS?
No, not quite yet. But he's back to his normal self. In the meantime, Perry had been taken away from the jail cell after King Arcanos had decided he was in love with her, and she is being taken to be experimented on and to have Lord Kiv's mind transferred into her body because she's compatible. And they shave her head. Not convincingly, it's a skull cap.
Yeah.
But they shave her head, and they're going to transfer his mind into her body.
It's like they almost even try with like there's no makeup or like blending. It's just a hard part skull cap. It looks
okay. TVs were a lot smaller back then.
Not that small.
They were reasonably small, and I mean, in the 70s. Well, this was the 86. Almost everyone had color TV by then. But in the 70s, most people still had black and white TVs for a long time. But by then, everyone had color. But yeah, the skull cap is not completely convincing at all. Anyway, so the Doctor, King Arcanos, and Dorf are heading to try and save Perry. While they're going that way, the TARDIS shows up, and there's this weird beam of light around it, and the Doctor gets pulled into the TARDIS backwards, as if he has he's compulsed. He has no control over his actions, which he does not. Then he gets pulled up,
Like he's going backwards in time or something.
Well, and then he gets dropped into the space station where this is all going on, which we saw at the beginning of the last serial.
Yeah.
And this is where it was taken out of time.
But we still have 2 more stories.
We do.
And we're already cut up to the courtroom scene?
Close. Hold on. So he gets taken out of time, and his memory's still faulty, but he's starting to remember things. He's like, this isn't right, this isn't right. And they're like, that's where you left Perry. He's like, I didn't leave them. You called me out of it.
Yeah.
And in the meantime...
So we're told again and again that the Matrix that they're watching the recap on can't lie, it's infallible. It's continually hinted at that it's misrepresenting what happened.
Yes. So, the doctor's back in the courtroom.
Dwarf gets shot.
And King Ikanos,
Yeah.
and several of the other Alphans are attacking, and a couple of them die, but Dorf dies, unfortunately. Sad for Dorf, but at least he died a warrior's death, which was good.
So he'll be reincarnated as some guy punching someone else in the afterlife.
He's up a level. He's equius to whatever. So King Arcanos and a couple of guys managed to break into the laboratory after Lord Kiv's consciousness has been transported into Perry's body. After he goes, ooh, warm blood, limbs, a torso, a strong neck,
cold-blooded reptilian
yeah.
thing.
Oh, legs. Toes. I like this body.
It's so weird. This bald cat Perry talking in this weird, artificially pitched down voice.
Yeah.
As a man, so we have this weird, like, trans.
I wouldn't say trans, but yeah.
But the fact that he went from being a slug to this female human, and he's like, I like this body. It's so weird.
It's kind of weird and creepy, but so still. I mean, there are some things with the serial that's creepy. So anyway, this is when Brian Blessed and others have been put in a time bubble by the Time Lords. Yeah. Because everything had to be perfect before they attacked in the laboratory. And the doctor's like, you shouldn't have done that. And they're like, oh, we did that. He's like, you're like second-rate gods, you know? Yeah. So Brian Blessed and a couple others get into the laboratory. They defeat the guards by frontal assault, because that's a warrior's way. They take the guns to the guards. They shoot Sill's machine, but not Sill. And his machine was shot earlier. Again. And he's about to shoot some of the guys, and then Perry sits up and goes in this weird demonic voice, you will protect me. I am your lord. You will die for me. Save me. Which is obviously Lord Kiv, but in Perry's body.
So we see Yrkanos' heart just break at this realization.
Oh, it's so bad.
No, and
he waves the beam magnifier and he presses it, and it cuts. And the doctor's like, "What happened? What happened?" We go back to the courtroom, and they're like, "Is she dead?" And they're like, "No, she's not dead."
Next week, same bat station,
same bat time, same bat channel.
They said she's not dead?
Not dead. But that's where the serial ends, is right there.
I don't remember that. I thought they said like they had to kill her.
Well, at one point they said they had to kill her, but then later on they said she's not dead. So,
but she is bald.
At least for the moment. Yeah. Alright, so weird serial in a weird season with a weird ending, but so far it's my favorite because Brian friggin' Blessed, you know?
Oh yeah, he was great.
He was amazing, and it's got a pretty decent story.
I like Crozier's character too.
Agreed.
Like how he's so muted and curt and succinct at first, and then at the very end, his experiment successful, and you see that Dr. Frankenstein come out at him.
But all the whole time he's like, this could be my last act.
Yeah.
He's so
takes the sip of tea before he starts resuscitating.
I would love to see the serial without the courtroom scenes with the full time. I don't want to watch the edits enough to do that.
So they kind of. So what they did was they went through and they filmed the serial or the season, and then they recut it to add the whole courtroom narrative.
No clue, but it's weird.
It is weird.
But anyway. Like I said, if
very unique.
Once I retire, I'm gonna watch all these special features and I'll watch all the edits, but not yet. I've got 10 years to retirement.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so that was the end of Mindwarp. What are your questions for for any of the second, third, fourth season episodes?
Mindwarp again. This one was pretty straightforward. Most of those questions were localized in that first episode, and then we have a very, there's like a couple of notes for each episode, which isn't so much of a question as just an acknowledgement of what did we just watch. Very strange. We kind of covered it while going through here. And I have no more questions.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
So at this exact moment, we believe Perry's alive, but we do not have quantitative proof. We will see soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And at this exact moment,
But her hair is deceased.
we are exactly caught up to the main.
Hey!
Watching.
It
We are
only
right
took
here,
us
about to watch the same serial.
Cool.
So we are caught up. We've seen the exact same number of episodes, and
Caught 'em.
they'll watch two. Or
Magic.
we will watch two on Sunday, but you and I will watch four on
The
Monday,
whole story.
and then we will be ahead by 2 episodes. We'll finally be ahead of the main group. Right now, exactly tied with it. Any other questions or news or anything?
Yeah, do we have any Doctor Who news coming up? No announcements yet. I imagine it's a slow month for Doctor Who stuff because we're kind of in between specials and anniversaries.
Okay, we are currently waiting on season 14, series 14, series 1, as Disney wants to call it. I'm waiting for the DVDs to know what I want to call it. We're waiting on that to start. At the same time, you and I are waiting on the latest episodes to be released on DVD or Blu-ray. The 60th anniversary specials and the Christmas special. We still have no date for those, even though we're 3 months out, which isn't the biggest gap, but once we hit 6 months out, I will be incredibly worried that Disney is screwing up the process and not allowing them to come out in the States for whatever reason or for whatever amount of time.
A bit of a nail biter, yeah.
Kind of.
Hard saying.
I don't like what's going on. I haven't seen the current stuff, but I'm not going to subscribe to Disney for anything. Like screw them.
Whatever they think will make the most money is what's gonna happen.
But I am looking forward to the rest of the classic seasons, the classic serials being animated, and the classic seasons being fleshed out on Blu-ray, no matter what happens to the current stuff. And we are getting that soon with the Trial of a Time Lord.
Hey, what's our next serial, Matter?
Alright, next serial is Trial of a Time Lord. Come here. Trial of a Time Lord, Terror of the Vervoids.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but we didn't mention this, but this aired from October 4th, 1986 to October 25th, 1986. 4 episodes back in the day, and today is February 26th, 2024. Yeah. Terror of the Vervoids.
Veirvoid.
Vervoids.
Oh, close.
Yeah, you were close. Just an extra.
Stuck an extra eye in there.
That was it. And We are 653 episodes into Doctor Who. We'll pass.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And we will get our first third party.
Could you imagine if we only made one podcast per episode?
Well, it would take us nearly 60 years.
Yeah.
But we will hit our first Apocrypha episode after this Doctor. Before the next Doctor, yeah.
Oh, really? They started coming out with they're like, we're not waiting on the next Doctor. We're going to make some third-party stuff.
Just one. And then most of the rest of them were during the wilderness years in the 90s. But there are some in the 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you think they're still making, like, loose cannon stuff?
Not loose cannon. Loose cannon is different. But they are still making third-party stuff. And loose cannon is done, but especially since they're animating all the missing episodes.
Alrighty. Well, I bet that just about wraps us up. Anything else on your mind, Tanner?
Nope. We will see you next week, and we'll do Terror of the Vervoids.
Vervoids.
There you go.
That's a tongue twister.
Say that 3 times fast.
Vervoids.
Terror.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.